If you guys have seen my previous videos, you know that I decided to learn Spanish less than 2 weeks before us going to Spain. Learning a language for 2 weeks, you're obviously still going to be at a beginner level. My goal was just to be able to use what I knew to effectively communicate with people to whatever capacity I was able to. Just to be able to get my message across and see just how far I could go with only 2 weeks of language learning. So if you're going to visit a country, let's say for vacation or you're just traveling there, is it really necessary to learn the language? Has it been necessary for me to know Spanish during our time here? In this video, I would like to show you 2 scenarios. There are obviously many more than these, but these are just 2 examples. One is where knowing Spanish wasn't necessary, but more of a fun thing and a way to communicate with the local people. I mean, that in and of itself is a great thing. The other scenario is when me knowing Spanish actually ended up being a lifesaver for us. We'll talk about these 2 scenarios in this video, and I'll show some clips of some interactions that I've had with people here in Spain. So the first scenario, which was a scenario where it was usually not necessary for me to know Spanish, was when we were ordering food. Most of the time they knew at least some amount of English, but the people serving us at coffee shops or restaurants seemed to enjoy speaking Spanish with me even if they knew English. For example, have a look at this clip when we were ordering food at a local restaurant. Pregunta.
Sí, dime cosa.
Si me daría, por ejemplo, paella a elegir, ¿es una porción grande?
No, tienes 8 tipos de arroces, todo esto.
Ok. ¿Es una grande o pequeña porción?
¿Es para una persona o para 2?
Ok, para una persona.
Para una persona es de 30, es así.
Ok.
Luego de 2, pues es grande.
Ok. Sí, entiendo.
Si queréis poder coger diferente, por ejemplo, tú una paella y ella otra cosa y luego compartís en el medio.
Ok.
Así podéis probar diferentes.
Mix.
No, me refiero a coger diferentes paellas, así podéis probar.
Probar. Okay.
Test.
Probar. Okay.
You choose different plates. You choose different plates like this. You can test it.
Ok. Sí, entiendo. Para es suficiente para una persona.
Sí. So if you want, I can make one big.
Okay.
A good one.
Okay.
Yeah?
Nos parece muy bien.
Perfecto.
As you can see, I used some basic Spanish, and then whenever the conversation got stuck, we just switched to English, which is completely fine. I just used Spanish because it was fun and it just gave me an opportunity to practice. Now, I will say that we are in a pretty touristy area in Spain, so I don't know what it's like if you go out more outside to some small villages, some rural areas. Maybe they're not going to speak as much English. There, knowing Spanish might actually be important. Now, of course, you can always point at the menu and do signs for check please and things like that, so you'll survive, but at the same time, maybe you'll order some food that you have no idea what it is. This brings us to the second scenario where knowing some Spanish actually ended up being a lifesaver. One of these was when we were trying to get a SIM card with unlimited internet. This was very important to us because both me and my wife work from home and we just have to have functioning and unlimited internet to be able to do that. We went to several stores and most of them did not speak English. So many times it was actually Spanish or nothing. Check out this clip at the local phone store as I try and solve our problem. All right, I'm gonna see how well my Spanish holds up here in the store to get some internet.
¿Cuánto cuesta un año? ¿Por un año? Al mes. ¿Vale? Para que tú la tengas y te lo puedas pensar si quieres. Yo ahora te voy a hacer una oferta. Oferta.
Okay.
¿Vale? Y te la voy a dar a ti, impresa, un papel, ¿ok? Con la oferta. Y tú ya lo piensas, si vienes, si quieres después.
Entiendo.
Dime tu nombre.
Me.
Sí.
Christian. So we had to go to quite a few stores in order to get what we needed, and they didn't always speak English. There was even an instance where I was saying something in English to the guy, the salesperson, and he just looked at me and he had no idea what I just said. It was something very simple. So this was a situation where I was actually forced to speak Spanish. And of course, I stumbled over my words, said things incorrectly, didn't know how to say something. And the point wasn't for me to speak good Spanish. I just really needed to solve our problem and get this SIM card. And without knowing any Spanish, that would have been very tough. And of course, if this is fluent, my Spanish level is like this right now. now, but it was enough to understand them and just get my point across. And when you're in a scenario where Spanish or whatever the local language is the only option, people actually tend to be very patient with you and they tend to speak slower. And you know what? You can just be ready with Google Translate. If they need to check something on the computer for a few seconds and you need to like figure out a word, you can just pull out your phone and just like look it up real quick. I've done this so many times. Or if there's a word they say that you don't know what it is, and it's actually very important that you know what this word means. All in all, I'm actually very happy I learned some Spanish for this trip. I just did it as a kind of like unexpected and just fun challenge to myself. It has made me appreciate the Spanish culture and I would like to learn even more now. Not only was it very enjoyable and fun to just talk with people and try to converse, but as you could see, there were some scenarios where it was actually a lifesaver. So if you're traveling to a country, I would encourage you to at least learn some of the language, especially if you're interested in it, which I'm assuming you are because you're watching this video. It will make your time a lot more enjoyable and sometimes even a lifesaver, as it was for me. And if you have very little time to learn, like I did, like you need to learn it very quickly, then check out my video week 1 of learning Spanish, where I show exactly what I did to be able to have a conversation with a native in less than a week. And if you want to get an idea of what type of vocabulary to learn first, then download my conversation cheat sheet in the description of this video. It's a sheet that I made for myself to learn some specific vocabulary in order to be able to have conversations with people even when I had been learning Spanish for a very short time. Let me know in the comment section of this video what scenarios you have been in where knowing a foreign language was actually a lifesaver. I would love to hear your stories. I'm gonna head out to have some delicious Spanish food right now, so I'll just see you guys in the next video.